Happy New Year and welcome to Get to the Hook. I'm your host, Eric Colley, joined today by my special guest, Wyld Moreau from the Verified Podcast. Thank you for joining me.
I know, I'm also the producer for this podcast.
You are the producer for this podcast.
All of our podcasts.
All of our podcasts. Doing all double, triple duty today.
I know you're looking like, is that Charles? No, I am not Charles. I'm just black with dreadlocks.
Charles, your skin's looking so good. Looking young. Well, I'm glad you are here as a younger person because I want to make you feel old.
Oh.
It is New Year, it is 2025, and let's look at the songs that are turning 20 years old this year. We are going back in the time machine, back to 2005.
It feels weird when you say back in the time machine to 2005, because 2005 seems like it wasn't that long ago,
But it was
Eric.
20 years ago. Welcome to the club.
I already feel old.
Because you were, what, like middle school in 2005?
I think I was like in like 4th or 5th grade or something like that.
Maybe a little bit older than that. But
2005.
No, I don't know, 20 years ago.
11?
You're like, I didn't know there was going to be math.
Oh, you know I'm bad at math.
We can forget. Anyway, but so you were like a kid.
Yes.
But old enough to like be listening to music and aware of what was going on around you. And honestly, I joke about like trying to make you feel old with this, and maybe it will, but I love taking like a year and looking at the music of that year, because if you go back and you listen to these songs together, it doesn't make you feel old. You remember being that age and you remember hearing these things together, and it reminds you of that time and it makes you feel young. Yep. I've done that I've got relatives in their 70s, and I'm like, okay, 1968, let's go, let's jump in. And they love it. It just takes them back. So we're going to take you back.
Okay, I'm ready.
And also, as I was doing this, like researching this, I mean, I love these songs from 2005, but I guess I didn't realize, really, it's kind of a significant year in music.
One of the biggest years in music.
And not just because, like, oh, there's good songs or whatever, but some really significant things happened. Some really major artists came along.
Popped up, yes.
Yeah. Two of the big things that I think really changed music, and why I think you could kind of argue that 2005 was the beginning of 21st century music. Like the artists, it wasn't just holdovers from the 90s. It wasn't people who had a blip maybe in the 2000s. Like you had your Norah Jones.
Right.
And you had some stars. You had Alicia Keys. There were some legit stars pop up. But 2005, you start seeing younger artists, and part of that is because the iTunes store came along in 2003, but it really blew up in 2005.
Yep.
Billboard started factoring it into the charts in 2005. Also, and I did not realize this until yesterday, YouTube premiered on Valentine's Day 2005.
Really?
So the combination of YouTube and iTunes, it was ripe for new artists to come along.
And this was when YouTube was like a free-for-all, so everyone's music video was on YouTube. Like right away. This was a good time to be on the internet.
I remember a friend showing me, it was a 30-second video of a pile of cigarettes after a party in somebody's driveway, and it had like 800,000 views. I'm like, what has happened to the world?
Wild place.
It was the Wild
West. I feel like
West.
2005 was the year that we got introduced to artists that we are still listening to.
100%.
And we'll probably still be listening to in 10 years.
Yeah, and some songs. So real quick, we're going to play some song bites, but before we get to that, I want to just to set the scene, just take you back to 2005. Some of the biggest hits of that year, and real quick, I'm going to sidebar before people get in the comments and being like, that song came out in 2004. Some of these songs were released in 2004 as album cuts. Maybe they were singles in 2005. But 2005 is the year they were on the radio. They were on YouTube. This is when they were big. This is when you'd know them. But Mariah Carey had her giant comeback with Emancipation of Mimi in 2005. We Belong Together was the biggest #1 hit, 14 weeks on top. We've talked about Mariah a lot, so I'm not going to get into that. Gwen Stefani, her Love Angel Music Baby album came out in late 2004.
Is that with
Holla Back Girl?
Oh, yes.
Rich Girl, Cool, Luxurious. All those singles blew up in 2005 from that album. Green Day, their 2004 album, American Idiot. The singles blew up in 2005, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Holiday, Wake Me Up When September Ends. 50 Cent came back with The Massacre, his sophomore album. Candy Shop.
Changed the game, man.
Were you young enough in 2005 that you thought he was talking about an actual candy shop?
No, I knew it was something inappropriate, but I did not know what it was. I just knew I shouldn't be singing this.
So when he said, I let you lick the lollipop, you're like, I know it's not a real lollipop, but
I'm not
I don't know
what he's offering. Yes.
Some other songs real quick. Daughters by John Mayer was one of those songs you kind of forget about, but it was everywhere.
Do I know that one?
Fathers Be Good to Your Daughters. You know that song.
Okay.
My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, yes. Lovely Lady Lumps.
Simultaneously awful and amazing. I know we can't talk about R. Kelly anymore, and he's more of a 90s person, but Trapped in the Closet hit in 2005.
Game, honestly.
I remember I was working then, And I remember like my coworkers and I, this one woman, we'd be like, "Oh my God, the new chapter came out." We would meet in my edit bay and like watch the video like it was like a movie premiere.
And the best thing in the world is that on the radio, they used to play like chapter like 1 through like 12. So we would just listen to like a whole half an hour, and it's just R. Kelly, and people would always tune in.
Yeah, and I remember I kind of forgot about it, and then like 2 years later, it came up, and I'm like, "There's like 75 parts of this song."
It's so
like,
good.
Crap,
it's so good.
Going.
Our associate producer Branson, who's even younger than I am, knows about Trapped in the Closet.
Really?
And knows all the words to every part.
He was
crazy.
like 5 then. Exactly. You should not be knowing that. That song got real weird. And also another thing that kind of brought kids into music was the advent of ringtones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Crazy Frog? That ring ding 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 ding. That was 2005. But a lot of new artists hit that year. So let's start talking about the new faces, the fresh faces in 2005. Mm-hmm. The Pussycat Dolls, Don't Ya, came out in 2005.
So good.
20 years old now.
Wow.
Nicole Scherzinger still
looks good.
Stunning.
Still looks good.
The Game. Hate It or Love It, and How We Do with 50 Cent.
That makes sense because that was 2005. Around 50's big time. Mm-hmm.
That was that big time. American Idol was going strong in 2005. It was its 4th season. The winner that year was Carrie Underwood. Mm-hmm. So her Inside Your Heaven came out, or Inside My Heaven.
Yes.
By the end of the year, her Some Hearts album came out with Jesus Take the Wheel.
Jesus Take the
Before He Cheats.
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago.
All the like classic Carrie Underwood songs are on that first album. Yes.
But we're saving the best here for last.
Okay.
A teenager from Barbados. Mm-hmm. Hit in 2005. She was 17. She only got to number 2 with this song. It got stuck behind Mariah's We Belong Together. But this is a classic. This is Rihanna, Pon de Replay.
Mr. DJ, some funny replay. Mr. DJ, won't you turn the music up? All the girls on the dance floor wanting some more. Mr. DJ, won't you turn the music up?
I don't think we even knew what we were getting into with that.
A banger. It's like, it almost felt like she would be kind of like one of those like one-offy kind of artists.
You know,
when she came out.
When Jay-Z signed her, he was afraid that song was so big she was never going to get past it. And if you look back, because we kind of forget now, the follow-up single was called If It's Lovin' That You Want, which I like that song too.
Such a...
Peaked at 36 though.
I know.
So it looked like, she got the big hit, she got the smaller thing, she's done. And then in 2006, SOS went to number 1, and then it was That Rihanna Rain Won't Let Up. Like
literally.
She was right. And then Umbrella hit in 2007, and it was over at that point. But
how did because I was still pretty young then, like how was the reception around Rihanna at the time? Was it like this kind of a throw-offy kind of song, or were people into it immediately?
It seemed like it could have been a little bit of a novelty because that sort of the island rhythm thing. Mm-hmm. Remember you'd had Move Your Body by Nina Sky.
Oh, and like Sean Paul.
No Letting Go by Wayne Wonder. There'd been a bunch of those songs that were hits, but the artists themselves didn't have a bunch of hits. Mm-hmm. And then when If It's Lovin' That You Want wasn't a big hit.
They were like...
And, you know, Rihanna was she was obviously always beautiful, but there were a lot of pretty girls in pop music.
Yeah.
But you could tell there was something about her that was different.
Yeah.
Didn't know what yet. Because it's not like, and, you know, Rihanna fans don't get mad at me, she's not like a Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston vocalist. She's not that kind of singer.
No.
She never claimed to be.
No, I don't think anyone would ever argue that.
And she's not, you know, she wasn't like this incredible dancer doing amazing moves.
In fact, she was not.
There's just charisma and star quality about her that you can't define it, but you know it when you see it.
Mm-hmm. She does have that, like if there's one
She's
person
got
that
more
has...
of the, nobody else has that like she does.
Like the it thing. Like she has the it factor without a doubt.
Still does. I mean,
Still.
It's in one hand, it's weird to think it's been 20 years since her first song came out, but also it feels like it's been 20 years since her last album came out.
Yes, truly. We've been waiting for about 10 years since.
I know.
Do you think that though? So Rihanna has released how many albums in her? Not a lot. It's only been...
Well, she was cranking them out like an album a year.
For a while. But I'm asking that specifically because Rihanna hasn't released any new music
since 2016.
In a while. And
was
like,
her last album.
Her last album is still on the charts until...
Oh, Anti is always on the charts.
That's what I mean. It's like, have you seen any other artists that we'll talk about either today or previously that have had that like 20 years from now or years from now?
There's some older... I mean, Fleetwood Mac is still in the top 50 every week.
What?
Because Rumors is a great album. It just is.
Truly. Yeah.
Bob Marley's been on the chart for like 900 weeks.
Damn. So Rihanna's undoubtedly a great.
She is. Mm-hmm. And the other big teenage artist that came up in 2005, while we're talking about Rihanna, because these two are forever inseparable, Chris Brown hit in 2005 and went to number 1 with his debut single, 5 weeks on top. Clearly, this was the label trying to cash in on Usher's Yeah the year before. They're like, let's get it kind of crunk, kind of R&B, kind of pop.
Yep.
Get a smooth R&B singer, put an exclamation point in the title. This was Chris Brown, Jewel Santana, Run It.
Is your man on the floor? If he ain't, let me know. Let me see if you can run it, run it. Girl, indeed I can run it.
He had just turned 16 when that song.
Let me tell you, every little dude in the hood, we all thought we were Chris Brown. I'm talking about like the baggy white t-shirts
Yeah.
and the big jeans, man. You can't tell me nothing.
It's so hard now because obviously his legacy is so complicated, and whether you think he's a monster and you will never forgive him, whether you think he's the greatest thing since Michael and all that's in the past to you, it's complicated.
Complicated, nonetheless.
But those early years, especially,
There was "Say Goodbye" was on that album. There were so many.
Yeah,
bangers
he had
on that
so
album.
many
Like,
hits.
so good.
and that's why it's interesting for me to think in a parallel universe where the incident with Rihanna didn't happen. How big would he be right now? I mean, he's still huge. Like, it's not like
Still
Chris
huge.
Brown completely fell off or anything. He still sold like 140 million records, but could he have been even that much bigger?
It does seem that like the public at large refuses to accept that Chris Brown has either like moved on or apologized for his involvement in that. But it is always a thing. It's always like Chris Brown and then the Rihanna incident.
Even
Like,
if you don't say it, it's floating in the back of your head.
It's in your brain.
And maybe it's because, like the R&B crowd, embraced him. He hasn't really tried to do a lot of big pop crossover songs since then. At the time, he was doing Forever and With You, like these big pop songs. He's an R&B artist. He really
without a
doesn't
doubt,
go.
yeah.
He doesn't really try pop too often.
He even does a little like dance hall now. So he's
Yeah.
really kind of stayed away from like the pop era.
But he's still, 20 years on.
He had a stadium tour last year. Huge
Yeah.
tour. My
And
girlfriend was there sweating and acting a fool. Like Chris Brown, the women love
Wait,
Chris
did you
Brown.
go?
No.
Because you would have been sweating and acting a fool.
Saying,
too.
you know
You'd be, it's your man.
Uh-huh. For sure.
Somebody else who came up in 2005, and justice for this man, and I think it's finally coming back around because he got so much hate for so long. This was his first hit, got to number 8 in November of 2005. T-Pain, I'm Sprung.
I'm sprung, oh, she got me doing things I'll never do. If you ain't been, I'm telling you.
So Usher famously told T-Pain he ruined music
You ruined music.
with auto-tune.
And then a few years later, for Usher to go and use auto-tune,
Exactly. Everybody does. And the thing is, T-Pain's a really good singer.
really good.
He's tried to prove it for years, and I think finally now people have accepted, you know what, he can sing, and those songs, auto-tuned or not, were bangers.
Still, like,
I'm in love with a stripper.
let me tell you, T-Pain is my celebrity doppelganger. If you're watching, if you're listening on audio, go to YouTube,
Okay.
type in Get to the Hook, you'll see me looking like T-Pain.
Yeah.
But I feel like T-Pain in recent years has honestly gotten just as big as he was almost a decade ago. I went to Coachella last year. He had a set at Coachella. It was like a closed set. You had to like wait in line. It wasn't like public, so you had to like wait in this long line to go into this little venue. Completely packed. I mean,
believe it.
like before the show even started, the line was like a mile. Like there was no, and I did not get in. Like people love T-Pain.
They do.
Love
And
him.
Because one, he has a deep stack of bangers. And I think a lot of the people who were like, well, that's not really music, we're never going to go see T-Pain anyway.
Exactly.
Because, I think he's very talented, and I'm glad that people are appreciating that. Even if he wasn't, I don't care. I'm honestly, I'm not as much as I love music, I'm not snobby about it.
Yeah.
If it's a good song and I like it, then why do I care?
Yeah. Whatever the finished product is, if
And
that's good.
Also, he seems like such a good dude.
He's
I
so much
didn't
fun.
even realize that I'm Sprung is written about his wife, Amber. They got married in 2003. He releases the song in 2004. They're still married.
Is Amber
22 years now.
Amber the stripper?
That he was in love with?
Yes.
I don't
Was there ever a stripper?
know.
Did we confirm?
I don't know. No. What if she wasn't? Then how do you write that song?
How do
And
you
she's
write-
like,
Well, who the hell
who's
is
the
this?
stripper? Maybe it's just a song.
It's a song.
It's just a song. It's just a song I wrote. This next song, I'm playing this. We're doing like the big hits, the really iconic songs. This one, if you were too old in 2005, you don't know it. If you were too young, you don't know it. But if you were at all listening to music in 2005, this song burned itself in your brain, and it used to creep me out. I got a story about this. I'm going to tell this. This is Yin Yang Twins' "Wait," the whisper song.
Just wait till you see my. Wait till you see my. Oh. Wait till you see my. Wait till you see my. Oh.
So I was in Florida in 2005. I worked on a morning show. I had to get up at 3:45 a.m. every day. I had to be at work by 4:30. Sucked. So, it's like pitch black outside when the alarm goes off. And I had my alarm set to the radio. And I had it on the hip-hop station. So, and for some reason, for like a month and a half, they played this song at exactly 3:45 a.m. So I'm dead asleep. And all of a sudden, come here, little shorty, let me whisper.
Oh my God.
And I was, you're like delirious when you wake up. I'm like, who is in my room? What is happening? What is going on?
Oh, there.
Why is there somebody whispering in my room? at
Why is there a
3:45?
big black man in my room right now?
I had
Hey,
to-
how you doing, little mama?
I had to switch it to alarm because I'm like, I can't. That song's creepy to.
Hey, little mama.
And it's also funny that this was, I played a little bit of the clean version, the radio
Yes.
version, because it's one of the dirtiest songs ever.
Mm-hmm.
The clean version's almost dirtier because instead of using any of the words, they have moans and groans and grunts. And she's like, I'm like, how is this better? How is this appropriate?
I feel like when we talk about the Yin Yang Twins and we talk about 2005, I feel like that was actually like the end
It was.
of their like run because they had bangers before that.
And I thought this song actually was a smart transition because, the early 2000s with Lil Jon and when Usher did, Crunk was so big,
Yep.
that hype party music.
Mm-hmm.
And then things started to go a bit more minimalist for a while. And then eventually by the 2010s, when you started seeing trap, it was very minimalist production.
Yeah, completely.
Weight fits right in with that, the Whisper song. It's just a beat and like an 808 kick, and like there's not a whole lot to it production-wise.
Whatever happened to the Yin Yang Twins?
They're probably doing oldies tours now, honestly. I don't know. Doing Shake It Like a Soft Shake.
Yeah, and honestly, I would be shaking it like a soft shake. For
Just
sure.
your hips would hurt the next day.
Yeah. Very slow shake, more like a tremble.
Yeah. It's talking about Chris Brown and like controversial artists. This next person, his whole career, there's people who still love him. This song was #1 for 10 weeks in 2005 at the end of the summer. But even people who hate him, people who were like, I will not support him, put this song on and see if they don't get hype about it. This is Kanye West, Jamie Foxx, Gold Digger.
Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger.
Even after everything, and after him saying I love Hitler and all that, people can be like, that's gross and I think he's awful. Play Gold Digger and
Play
see
it.
if they're not like,
I'm telling you.
okay, well, I like that.
Okay, fine.
Okay, that song. That is the biggest hit he's ever had.
Uh-huh.
And just, it was such a moment. Also, remember Hurricane Katrina in 2005?
Mhm.
And then Kanye there with Mike Myers on that telecast saying,
Yup, and he gets
George
up
Bush
there.
doesn't care about black people.
All the black people at home like, yeah,
And
yeah.
the funniest thing was Mike Myers from Austin Powers.
Just
Like, he's like, I don't know what to do. What is happening? Like, that's the Kanye I think a lot of people still think of. 2005 is when Late Registration came out, and he could do no wrong.
right.
How did it go so wrong?
I don't know. I always often think about this. Like, I actually think that social media might have been more detrimental to celebrities than they think. Because back in the day, we just liked the art or the product. Now, we know your personalities.
Yeah, and-
like, imagine if we never knew that Kanye was like this.
Yeah,
Would've been fun.
and also things couldn't really go viral the same way. Like, think like the George Bush doesn't care about black people. Imagine if he said that in the age of X or any social media,
TikTok and
TikTok, anything.
Uh-huh.
But it didn't. But now, like when you say something, everyone sees
Everyone
it
knows.
right away,
Yep.
and it lives forever.
It does. Damn.
But you know what, Gold Digger, we all agree on that, right?
Yeah. As much as I don't want to. Yeah.
This next song, this is an artist that usually anytime she comes up when we're at work, you kind of roll your eyes a bit. You're like, oh, give it up, Granny.
Because I'm
I know,
tired. And
but-
she's tired also.
But like Kanye, for people who didn't grow up loving this artist, this song, if you remember it, this song was so good. Billboard named it the biggest dance hit of the entire 2000s decade. It hit #1 in 41 different countries, got to #7 in the US. I know you think she's an old relic, but in 2005, Madonna came with the heat. This is Hung Up. And Madonna, Madonna's Madonna.
Yes.
She had to write a letter kind of begging for that sample. So the song samples the song Gimme, 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 A Man After Midnight by ABBA.
Gimme, 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 gimme.
Yeah, that song.
Oh, okay.
Da-da-dun, da-da-dun, all the strings and everything. That's ABBA. And ABBA rarely lets anybody sample their music. They're very protective of it. So Madonna had to write a letter saying, this song needs this sample.
Yes.
And they agreed. They're like, this is a great song. It does need the sample. You may use it.
Eric, I have never heard that song until about 20 seconds ago.
You never heard Hung Up?
Never in my entire. I know the
it's
ABBA,
so
gimme.
good.
I've never heard that Madonna song. I feel
Gotta
like
listen to
Billboard,
Madonna song.
Billboard also got it wrong because the biggest Madonna song of that decade was
Music. Oh, you thinking
"You only
4
got
minutes?
4 minutes to say the word."
Bah.
Hesitating. Oh, see, like that's how young I am. Like I remember, like Madonna, Justin Timberlake.
I like it, except the part when Justin Timberlake goes, Madonna. It
Oh my
sounded
God, that's
so
the best part.
goofy.
You gotta give it to me. Like,
No, but I do love that
Lord,
song,
It's
though.
such a good song.
He likes some Madonna. Well, when this is done, go listen to Hung Up, and you'll be like, okay, it's
I need to run
that
it
is
like,
low-key
all
a
the way
jam.
through.
It is a good song. 2005, 2004-2005 is when pop radio and R&B and rap radio were the most in sync.
Mhm.
Actually, no white artist hit #1 in 2004 at all. And charts were driven almost entirely by radio because there wasn't iTunes really yet. There wasn't YouTube or anything. But once iTunes hit, you started seeing some pop, some rock, some weird stuff start coming back in. Some of the, and when I say rock, I mean, it's a broad sense. I'm not talking like metal or anything.
Yeah.
Coldplay in 2005 had Speed of Sound and Fix You. Keane had Somewhere Only We Know. Foo Fighters' Best of You. The Mars Volta was an alt band that year. Also, a scene that had been kind of bubbling up but wasn't mainstream, the emo pop punk scene. You'd had The Middle by Jimmy Eat World was a big hit in 2002. But then it blew up in 2005 because of bands like My Chemical Romance. Then you had Panic at the Disco. And the big one that really took advantage of this and jumped into the top 10, which was rare for any rock song, much less an emo pop punk rock song. And it was Fall Out Boy. This is Sugar, We're Going Down.
Going down, down, in and around. And sugar, we're going down, swinging. I'll be your number one with a bullet.
I still love that song.
Such a good song.
I bought the CD when you had to actually buy CDs. It had Dance Dance on that album. And
that was a time.
Fall Out Boy is one of those bands that I think at the time a lot of like older rock fans didn't take them seriously.
Oh no, I remember because like I was
the
like,
guy liner and the haircuts and all the goofy song titles.
all the like alt stations like regrettably played it all the time.
Like,
I remember.
fine.
Yep,
But
these
now,
kids.
because remember Fall Out Boy took that hiatus for a few
Yep.
years, and then when they came back, they were so big.
So big.
Because I think older people certainly didn't realize how really beloved they were. And same thing now with My Chemical Romance when they're going on tour in 2025, and people love them. Those songs, it's the soundtrack of your youth.
Panic at the Disco did the same thing. They took a little bit of a break, then they came back with My Green Gentleman.
Yeah.
They were-
You were an emo. Do you have an emo haircut?
No, but I did have
A little
I had a
swoop?
hardcore emo phase.
Did you?
You can tell.
Did you do some guy liner?
No, but I had like the baggy. I mean, I wear baggy pants and
Yeah.
chains now. Oh my god, I'm still in the emo phase.
It's come back around.
Literally. Wait. Okay. So as I was preparing for this podcast today,
Yeah.
I was doing research.
Okay.
Did you know? Obviously, you know.
I might not.
Pete Wentz
Yeah.
and BB Rexa were in a band together.
I did not know that.
Oh my god! I just learned that. Like,
Wait, after Fall Out Boy?
yes. Oh, I forgot what the band was called, but they were in a band together, the Black Something, and BB Rexa was like full in her emo girl era, like dark hair, dark eyeliner, and I'm like, what is going on? Apparently, we all missed this. This was prior to
I
BB
don't
Rexa
remember
becoming BB Rexa.
Yeah.
She was in this band, like
In an emo band. What?
the Black Cards.
Black Cards?
Black Cards.
I didn't know that. Now I
Okay.
want to listen to it though.
Okay, look at me with a little
all
music
right.
knowledge.
Thanks. I like that. Because it was also weird when you realized, because if you look up any promo photo of Fall Out Boy, I mean, even to this day, but certainly from the mid 2000s, Pete Wentz is always front and center.
Yep.
When you hear the song, you assume, oh, he's the lead singer.
Yeah, for sure.
No, he writes all the songs.
And he's always like the guy.
He's the guy. And it worked out. Patrick Stump was like, I don't want to be a rock star. I like to sing and I like to be in a band, but I'm not interested in being a celebrity. And it worked out perfectly because then you have the bass player who wants to be the celebrity.
And everyone thinks that he's the lead singer of the band.
Yeah.
Do you think though that ever caused any attention? I don't know, but if you could you
No, I don't think it did. I know like our camera guys before got Patrick Stump once and asked him about that. Like, does that affect your ego?
Yeah.
And that was why it worked so well for them, because he's like, no, I was happy to not be the focus.
I like that.
I didn't want to be. And sometimes that happens.
He sounds damn good though, so.
Yeah, he has a great voice. And those songs, yeah, he said some people were dismissive of it at the time, but now it's aged really well. It still sounds
for
good
sure.
to me. I still love that song. And that brings us to the last two songs I want to talk about, because I think these are not just, they were definitely not the two biggest hits. Neither one of them even hit number one. They are, I think, the two most iconic songs of 2005. Arguably two of the most iconic songs of the 21st century.
Okay, I'm excited.
And the level of success of one of them in particular, but both of them. This first one, it was first released in 2003 as a standalone song, I think, and then it appeared on an album in 2004. Then it was promoted as a single in 2005. It only got to number 10, which seems like incomprehensible. I think had streaming been around, it would have definitely been number one, or at least higher than number 10. This song is certified diamond for over 10 million units.
Oh my God.
In the UK, it has spent over 400 weeks on the singles chart. It still pops on and off all the time now, 20 years later.
What song is this?
It is also Spotify's most streamed song of the 2000s decade with 2.4 billion streams. And remember, Spotify premiered 4 years after this song came out.
So people are just back streaming it.
People have never stopped listening to this song.
God.
And it's a song, usually songs like that, like a song like Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. I love that song, but I'd be okay not hearing that for another 10 years.
Right.
I just got so tired of hearing it, even though it's great. This song, if it ever comes on, I'm going to listen to the whole thing. This is The Killers, Mr. Brightside.
Ah.
Open up my eager eyes, 'cause I'm Mr. Brightside.
It's
So good.
such a song. Like,
So good.
And it makes you happy, but it's about him catching his girl cheating, which is a true story. Because they're from
know
Vegas.
that.
He said he was in Vegas, and he's like, I just have a sense about things, like an intuition. And he's like, she's cheating on me. He went to a bar or a casino or something where she was, and there she was with another guy. And he wrote this song about it.
Wow.
It's a true song.
Eric, let me tell you, the first time I heard this song was at like a.
I thought you were going to say 20 seconds ago. I'm like,
No, oh my God,
come on now.
It was at
Madonna, I'll believe.
It was
This,
at like
no.
a crusty dive bar in college. It was like 2013, and I thought the song was like brand new. Like that's how good the song
Yeah.
is that it doesn't feel as old as
It
is.
doesn't. And
Like,
when it came out, because it's so weird, we're so used to now like the 80s, people doing like The Weeknd has done the 80s,
mhm.
Chappell Roan does the 80s, The Synths. But 2005 was only 15 years after the 80s ended. They weren't quite retro yet.
Right.
They were starting to get there. So it was a new thing in the early 2000s for these alt rock bands to put synthesizers back in.
Mhm.
Because it had been forbidden. For
Yep.
like, no, the 80s are over, synthesizers are lame. We're
It
not
got kind of
that.
corny, yeah.
And then it came back. And so it has kind of an old school 80s sound to it, but it's also like a 70s pop rock song, but also like a 2000s emo
Mhm.
punk song.
So good.
It's all these
So-
different things, but it just sounds like itself.
And even now that a lot of those sounds are coming back,
It
like,
sounds fresh.
It's current. Ugh.
This song it never went away. It never went away.
I
It
love
never
it.
should because it is a great song.
Mhm.
Last one I'm gonna play. This song. I don't know how I don't know think there's a person on earth who doesn't love this song.
Okay.
And it only got to number 2. It got stuck at number 2 behind 50 Cent's Candy Shop. Should have been a number 1 hit. It's a Max Martin and Dr. Luke song, the guys who've done almost every pop song for the last 30 years.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, they wrote this song for Pink.
Mm.
Pink didn't do it. Hillary Duff wanted this song, but when Hillary tried to record it, found out she couldn't hit the high notes. And which is funny, and that's not a shade to Hillary Duff because she can sing,
Yeah.
but not every singer can do everything. I think this is like a really popular karaoke song, or if it's in the car, everybody sings along to this at the top of their lungs. None of us can hit those notes,
Mhm.
but we try. We try. And I think this song created a career. Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone.
Since you've been gone, I can't breathe for the first time. I'm so moving on, yeah.
I just want to hear that whole song.
It's so good.
And I
Hillary Duff, please.
I know.
There's no way.
I'm not trying to shade Hillary Duff, but
Come on.
come on.
That is a
Pink
Kelly-
could have done it,
Pink. Oh, easily.
but it
easily.
would have been different. There's a
It would have been a
sweetness to
little-
Kelly Clarkson that makes it feel like she's more hurt.
It's a little
Pink is-
vulnerable. Yeah. Kelly
Yeah.
Clarkson has that like.
Pink's like, since you've been gone, I slashed your tire.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Since you've been.
That's why you like
Yep.
Pink. And I say make a career because Kelly Clarkson was already, she'd already won Idol
Mhm.
and did a moment like this. Miss Independent had come out
Yep.
in 2003. She'd already had Breakaway was from the Breakaway album that
Yep.
Since You've Been Gone's on. So she had a career, but it's easy to see that could have passed as like the Idol mania cooled down. Her career could have faded.
It kind of seemed
Since
like
You've
they
Been
didn't.
Gone.
It seemed like they didn't know. Sorry, they didn't seem like they didn't know where to put her
Right.
initially. Like they had her doing Miss Independent, which had a little bit of like an R&B-ish feel.
Yeah.
Her Idol song was completely pop, but also kind of ballady. Like they
Yeah.
just didn't know. But this was the song.
And that's honestly, so after Hillary Duff didn't do it, Clive Davis, had a record label and signed all the Idol people and is a legend in the industry. Clive Davis is like, oh, we have to have this song for Kelly. But it was a little bit poppier at first because Max Martin and Dr. Luke do pop songs.
Mhm.
And Kelly's like, I want to go more of a rock direction. So they kind of compromised and put the guitars and put the live drums. And Kelly Clarkson fought to get the sound she wanted. And that's when you knew, like, oh, she's going to be around.
That's her
and
song,
she
uh-huh.
was. And not that Kelly Clarkson racks up big hits necessarily these days, but she's got her talk show. She is still
oh, beloved.
beloved and hugely famous. And
Please.
anytime she feels like it, she can pop up anywhere on the planet
Mhm.
and sing Since You've Been Gone.
Or just
and-
sing anything, and I'm there.
Anything, but like that song in particular, I think I've never met anybody who doesn't like
Who
that
doesn't or haven't at least
How
heard
could
it.
you?
Uh-huh.
How could you not like that?
What is your favorite Kelly Clarkson song?
It probably is Since You've Been Gone, but
Okay.
go ahead. I celebrate her whole
Oh
catalog.
my God, there's so many I love. I love Stronger. I love a song called Cry off the same album.
Yeah.
I like Behind These Hazel Eyes.
Oh, that's
I like
a good one.
Break-
That's a good-
I'm
I even like. Wait,
Clarkson.
I'm having a brain fart. My December, the next album, is the one where she really wanted to do her own stuff, and Clive Davis fought her on it, and the album kind of flopped a bit. It was the album after Breakaway, the first single.
Is it the one where she's like on a rooftop in the music video and it's kind of sad?
Yeah, it's kind of more rock and it has this big chorus, and I'm totally brain farting on the name of it right now.
Either way, Kelly Clarkson, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
And you just like her. That's why. That's partly why she won American Idol. I mean, yes, there's no denying she's got a voice. I don't think anybody would deny that. But you just like her.
Even with
You
a
root
talk
for
show,
her.
I don't know what she'd be talking about half the time, but I will sit and watch an episode of the Kelly Clarkson talk show because one, she's funny and entertaining, but also she sings throughout the show, so you get a little bit of like the
And
music.
she does cool random covers, like
and they're
songs you wouldn't
always
expect her to
so
do.
good.
And that's the thing too. She's got range. Like she's done country music before. Before everybody was jumping on the country bandwagon, she was doing songs with Reba McEntire and Jason Aldean. She's done like dance pop songs and like post, pop punk music.
Yep.
Ballads. She can sing anything.
Is she, by numbers only, is she the greatest American Idol? I know people say that.
It's her, and then Carrie Underwood's pretty close,
Okay.
and then maybe Daughtry. Kind of.
okay.
And Jennifer Hudson didn't have a bunch of hits, but she's
Yeah,
very
but she
famous
is,
and
yeah.
won an Oscar.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it kind of goes a little bit
Okay.
off a
It
cliff
shakes
after
a little bit after that.
You get a couple, and then it's like, okay, this person had 2 songs. 2005, 20 years ago, as we head
Wow.
into 2005. But that, it just shows you great music is forever. And no matter how old it gets, you hear Since You've Been Gone or Mr. Brightside, they sound just as fresh and exciting now as they did 20 years ago.
All right, Eric, really quick. If you can think of a song that, 2025 just started, so
I know.
not this year.
What
but-
song's going to endure?
Right. If you can think of what song that came out maybe like last year that you think people will still be listening to 20 years from now, what song would that be?
I'm trying to like, it's like the biggest songs this past year. Like Shabuzi's a bar song. Is that going to hold up, or are people going to get burned out on it? Usually when a song's that big, you kind
Yeah.
of, because honestly, not that you necessarily hate like Old Town Road, but when's the last time you heard it?
They don't play. It's not even in power rotation or
No, nobody plays that song. I could see maybe Teddy Swims' Lose Control, because it's a song that it's like we're saying about like the Killers. It has kind of a 60s throwback vibe, but it's modern. It's pleasant enough that it's not off-putting to anybody. That's why it's such a big hit. Moms like it, kids like it. I could see people listening to that song 20 years from now.
Okay.
And they might think they're like, it's only from 2024? That song sounds like it's
Yeah.
from 1964.
2024. Who's that old man up
I don't
there?
know. That man with all the face tattoos.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right,
But,
I trust your knowledge.
See, I hope I didn't make you feel too old. Hope you have some good
No.
memories of 2005.
I
hearing
definitely
these
feel
songs.
very old though. Thanks, Eric.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, it only gets worse.
You made me an oldies playlist. These are all the songs from my oldies playlist.
Yep, from 20 years ago.
Okay.
Oldies that you remember when they were newies.
Yeah. Well, thanks,
Yeah,
Eric.
well, thank you for joining me today. This was
of
fun.
course.
And we will see you guys back here. You'll be on the Verified podcast.
Yes, I will.
Charles will be back. We'll be doing Get to the Hook and seeing what's happening in 2025. It's going to be a wild year, we already know.
It'll be exciting.
So many reasons, but it'll be exciting. We'll be here. See you guys next time.